Hello and welcome back. Back to the Sun Devil Squire. Today is Friday, September 8th, and I'm at Nick Juicy and Tori Smith's townhome, apartment, complex, house, flat. And I'm recording before flag football practice in about an hour. And ASU, they just beat Southern Utah University last Thursday, and it was one of the more unnatural football games that I've ever seen. The Sun Devils defeated the Thunderbirds 24-21, and a game that started on Thursday night and ended Friday morning. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, a dust storm rolled into Tempe right around halftime, and while the Sun Devils were up 17-7 at the break, that break lasted 3 hours, and the game didn't get resumed. The second half didn't start till around 11:45. So then Sun Devils and the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah played a half with about no fans and some crazy rain and a long break. And Southern Utah looked pretty good in that half. Of course, I didn't actually stay for the entirety of that half. I think I stayed in the stadium at halftime for about an hour, and then we decided to walk back. It wasn't worth it. It started raining, lightning. Yeah. Didn't really watch on TV, but I watched the highlights the next morning, so I don't really know everything about that, what happened, like what the tempo was. I just watched the plays happen in succession, and Southern Utah they just took over the trenches then. And that's one thing that ASU has to work on, especially for this game against Oklahoma State. So the game kicked off 7:05 Thursday night. Football was great. Sun Devils looked potent on their first offense. Rashada hit a deep ball to Melquan Stovall, the slot receiver transfer from UNR, and it's a beautiful 35-yard ball. And Cameron Scatabo was averaging, I think, 8 or 9 carries or yards per carry in the first quarter, which is brilliant. And then Southern Utah fought back for a nice touchdown of their own. And then ASU, at the end of the second half, right when the rain, dust storms were coming in, they had 2 amazing touchdown drives. So they were on their side. They were on the 45-yard line, 48-yard line. On 4th and 8, Jaden Rashada had a play-action rollout to the right side and corked a beautiful deep ball to Idaho State transfer Xavier Guillory, who caught it in the end zone with contact, touchdown. Sun Devils. That put it 14-7. Then, with about 27 seconds left, Rashada hit a fade ball to the backside to Javen Jacobs, who caught it like this in the end zone, dragged the feet, beautiful throw, touchdown Sun Devils 21-7, and that was the half. Fans were either asked to leave or leave the stands and either wait on the concourse or exit, and of course, I left. And so in the first half, it took Rashada a while to click. It was mostly the running game in the first quarter, then the passing game took over in the second. He had a couple risky throws, but again, he's just turned 20 years old after he classed in high school. So on the defense, it was the first half was pretty decent. There was a lot of plays, some trickeration from Southern Utah that got the Sun Devils off balance. Clayton Smith, their 5-star D end transfer from Oklahoma, had a targeting call on, I think, the 9th play of the entire season. So he was ejected super early, and then after that, the D-line did not look very good on passing downs. And that's because Smith is an electric athlete. He's super fast, great. He's very strong. He's more of a power guy. He doesn't have the best technique, but it's not bad. But he's got a lot of finesse moves. And I think that was a big thing that changed the tide of the game, because without Smith in, it was up to Prince Dorba, Blazin Lana Wong, who's not looking very good, and BJ Green. And then the center is Mallory and I can't remember his name, but those guys were getting a lot of run. So, but Arizona State did win. They ended up, over the course of the game, of course, scoring more points than Northern Arizona, despite, I think, Northern Arizona outplaying them if we're going to a talent-to-talent basis. Northern Arizona definitely did way more with their lack of talent than ASU did with their surplus of talent, in my opinion. yeah, after the delay, there wasn't a lot to be confident about. It was not a great sign, but it was unprecedented, and that clouded the game. So I'm not going to read too much into the second half, mostly because I didn't watch it live, and there was that insane delay. So I'm not going to put so much stock into, okay, they are not as good as we think, because they couldn't play that well in the second half against Northern Arizona. I'm just going to see it how it is. I like what I saw in the first half. They were a little slow. They're going to need to pick that up tomorrow night against against Oklahoma State. So we're going to see what's going to happen there. So Oklahoma State is going to come into Tempe. They're 1-0. They just beat Central Arkansas 27-13, and this is a completely different Oklahoma State team than we saw last year, where ASU actually played pretty well with Herm Edwards as coach. Emory Jones had a great first half. Xavier Valade was excellent. I think he ran for 120, 118, something like that yards and a couple touchdowns. That was a great game. That was Ro Torrance's breakout day. He was excellent. Trevez Moore played pretty well too. And Oklahoma State had Spencer Sanders at quarterback. He's now at Ole Miss. They had their running back. They had a redshirt freshman running back who transferred to Bama. I forgot his name though, but he's the number 2 or 3 running back there, and he was pretty good at Oklahoma State last year. Oklahoma State used 3 quarterbacks against Central Arkansas, and they still haven't named their week 2 starter yet, and that was the quarterbacks they used were Gunnar Gundy, who went 7 of 9, Garrett Rangel, who was 10 of 15, and Alan Bowman, who was 13 for 24. Rangel had a touchdown and an interception. Gundy and Bowman did not record any of those extracurricular stats. They all played relatively similar games, but the running game really powered their offense to victory. So Ollie Gordon II, Elijah Collins, Jaden Nixon are the 3 running backs to look out for. The 3 of them combined for 21 carries and 112 yards against Central Arkansas. That's pretty good. That's over. I think that's 5.4, 5.3 yards per carry. Sorry, I didn't do the math beforehand. And stopping the run will be the focus of this Arizona State defense, because that front 4 is not nearly as talented enough to beat the Oklahoma State O-line. So they need to bring the linebackers in. Will Schaefer has to get a lot of run because he's a good run stopper. Tate Romney has to be in the gaps. He has to play in that. He can't sit back like he did against NAU in the first half. He was much better in the second half with what I saw on YouTube, but he needs to hit the gaps early and often to stop Gordon, Collins, and Nixon. Wide receivers Deshaun Stribling and last year's leading receiver for Oklahoma State, Brennan Presley, looked really impressive against Central Arkansas, but Arizona State DBs are much better. Ed Woods is a very good cornerback. Jordan Clark is an elite nickel, so he's going to stop Stribling and Presley in those looks. And then Ro Torrance is an absolute dog out on the boundary. He's probably our best overall defensive player. So I can't wait to see. Arizona State just need the front 4 to create enough pressure on passing downs to allow Torrance, Clark, and Woods to bat the balls away. Because the throws are going to be there. They just need to be a little bit under pressure. So whoever's being used at quarterback, Gundy, Rangel, or Bowman, have enough pressure to not be comfortable, essentially. So here I have 3 keys to the game for ASU. Number 1, they got to get dirty. They have to stop the run early in the drives and then get enough pressure on passing downs for the DBs to make plays on the ball. NAU was getting 5-yard carries left and right last week, so that's the biggest thing that ASU needs to clean up defensively. Number 2, they got to limit penalties this year. Last year under Herm Edwards and Stillwater, the Sun Devils committed a shocking hundreds. They had 170 yards in penalties. This resulted in a miserable second half, and that result it can't be repeated. It's just that simple. Number 3, make life easy on Jaden Rashada. This is Rashada's first Power 5 experience, and the O-line needs to make his life easier for him. They just need to hold the protection just long enough so we can get the balls out quick. He needs to make his decisions fast. He needs to read the defense, and when he has to throw deep, he has the arm talent and the accuracy to hit the throws. He just needs the time, and he can't be rushed. So that's a lot to ask, but I'm very confident in this team, and I'm very confident in Dillingham's quick throw. He does a lot of bubble screens, a lot of slants. I think this offense will match the defense perfectly with Oklahoma State, and will get Rashada in rhythm early, so when those deep shots come, the O-line will hold long enough. So my predictions is Oklahoma State 30 points, Arizona State 24 points. I have Oklahoma State just taking it just because that O-line and the running game is just so much stronger than the Arizona State front seven, or really front six, the way Arizona State plays defense. A couple lines I have Jaden Rashada going over 200 yards, over a touchdown and a half, and over 2 turnovers. So I think he's going to have maybe 3 turnovers, 2 touchdowns, and throwing for over 200 yards. I don't think that's too crazy. Cam Scatabo I have going over 100 yards with about a touchdown. And Elijah Badger I have under 80 receiving yards. And Xavier Guillory I have under 50 receiving yards. I think the big guy is going to be Messiah Swinson, Melquan Stovall, and Jalen Conyers, and maybe Javen Jacobs out of the backfield. Those are the guys I think is going to get the most passing yards from Rashada. I think Badger's going to be around 70-ish marks. That's why I put it at 80. I don't want to call him over 100, but that's what I'm looking for. I think it's going to be a great game. I can't wait to be there. It's a blackout. It's going to be super hot. Can't wait. See you guys then. Thank you for tuning in once again.